Hello, Cheryl here, the No Sugar Coach. Today is day 39 of my carnivore experiment. I recently mentioned that for the month of February, I'm going to implement a time restricted eating schedule. So I'm eating between 9 and 3 p.m., a 6 hour eating window. And so far, that's going really well for me. 2 meals a day is quite satisfying, and I'm enjoying it tremendously. Now, in yesterday's video, I talked about weight bias and social stigma. And today I want to chat a little bit more about the impact that weight stigma has on body image and self-esteem. Now, I don't have to tell you that in today's society, we idealize impossible body standards. And for those of us who struggle with overweight and obesity, the pressure to conform can lead to devastating consequences. I can tell you that walking around day to day with poor body image and low self-esteem is not a pleasant experience. Now, as I mentioned before, weight stigma refers to negative attitudes, beliefs, and judgments directed towards individuals based solely on their body weight or their size. And it shows up in media, with portrayals of ideal body types. We experience it as discrimination in employment and healthcare practices. There's also, even within the home, the social rejection and prejudice in personal relationships. And, right down to well-intentioned efforts to address obesity often contributes to the problem that they aim to solve. So when you're in a large body size and you're constantly exposed to negative messages about your appearance, you begin to internalize these beliefs, even if you consciously disagree with these stereotypes. So the process is so deeply ingrained that many of us struggle to recognize our own biases, even when applied to ourselves. So it shows up as negative talk, like how many times a day do you call yourself nasty names? Or you feel worthless and you don't really matter very much. Or you start to think that it's okay to get crappy treatment or get abused because of your weight. So what does that do to our body image? How do we perceive ourselves? Things start to get severely distorted. So you start to compare yourself to stupid, unrealistic ideals. You focus excessively on perceived flaws, and you experience body dissatisfaction regardless of your actual appearance. Now, I have in the notes below, I have provided links to very interesting articles about all of this, what I'm going to talk about in the notes. So, what about our self esteem? Well, it's very closely tied to our body image. Our self esteem is our overall sense of self worth. As our body image erodes with weight stigma, it also starts to chip away at our self esteem. And then, of course, there's the vicious cycle, right? So you're exposed to the weight stigma. You internalize the negative beliefs. You begin to suffer poor body image, which then lowers your self-esteem, which then increases your vulnerability to further stigma. Isn't this so much fun? So now, what about psychological issues? The effects of poor body image on low self-esteem does reach beyond how dissatisfied we are with our appearance. We're looking at things like depression and anxiety, social isolation and loneliness, increased risk of eating disorders, and even suicidal thoughts. What's really interesting is that these mental health challenges can last even after we've lost the weight. And this, of course, showcases the long-lasting effects of what happens when we internalize stigma and weight bias. And it doesn't stop here. Weight stigma and its psychological effects can have tangible impacts on physical health. So you get an increase in cortisol levels, which of course leads to stress-related health problems. You develop a higher risk of heart disease, diabetes. You start to avoid going to the doctors because you know you're going to be judged because of your weight. And in desperation, you try all sorts of unhealthy weight control behaviors. I mean, we get ourselves hacked up by plastic surgeons so we can look a certain way. We beg doctors to remove parts of our digestive system And we even take drugs with serious side effects, all in the name of being thin and looking great. At least that's what society tells us how we should look. This is being thin is how you look great. So now, do I have a solution, for breaking the cycle? No, I don't. But I think we can start by recognizing, the pervasiveness of weight bias in society and in our own internalized beliefs. And how do we do that? Well, start noticing on TV how often large people are depicted negatively or as the butt of jokes. It's not even a little bit funny. It's like the writers are too lazy to come up with something witty and clever. How about noticing how often weight is mentioned unnecessarily in day-to-day conversation? And here's an example. I had a conversation with someone who mentioned to me that they went to a brand new restaurant and it was the best and they had the greatest service ever. The server was really, really fat, but she was nice and very efficient. So I just had to ask, what you're saying is that despite the server being fat, she was still able to do her job exceedingly well, serve you professionally, and manage to be a nice person all at the same time? Wow. You're twisting my words. No, I'm not, but I digress. All right. So another thing to watch out for is when weight is inappropriately blamed for unrelated health issues. You go in with a sore elbow and you're told you need to lose a few pounds. And, the other thing that we have to start doing is practicing more self-compassion and extend that empathy to others, no matter what the body size. So in the end, I just think it's crucial to remember that your worth is not determined by your appearance. And we all deserve respect and dignity, no matter what size we are. So don't be afraid to call someone out when they make callous or inappropriate comments, either about you or about someone else or something they've seen on TV. You'll probably be told that you're being too sensitive. So what? At least you will have spoken up for yourself. And trust me, that person will have heard you loud and clear. And I think that's how you start to make a difference. Stand up for yourself. All right. For now, that's it for me today. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Leave me a comment. These are my contact form. I've included that in the link in the notes below, as well as some articles that I think you'll find interesting related to all of this. In the meantime, eat well, be kind to yourself, and keep a smile on your face. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.